On today's What Do We Do podcast, we're swinging into the business of Eastside Golf. I'm joined by Earl Cooper, and he shares with us how he built a purpose-driven company and turned it into a full-on movement. From entrepreneurs and partnerships to social change and brand culture. It all started with the iconic Swingman logo. It's going to be a great show, so hit the subscribe button, give us a follow, and let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the What Do We Do podcast. I'm your host, Dewey Stefan, and I'm also the CEO of Great Lakes Wealth. Well, today we have another guest episode, and I'm so excited to introduce you all to my friend, the co-founder of Eastside Golf, Mr. Earl Cooper. Earl, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Dewey.
Absolutely. I'm excited. And this hour is going to fly by, okay?
For sure.
But we always start the show with a game we like to play called High-Low. And that is, what is the high point of your life and low point of your life to this point of your life?
So the high for me is going to be having my son. Recently had my son, Earl Francois Cooper.
Lil Coop,
exactly. So we actually took him on his first flight coming here. So that tells you how much important this is to me. So excited to be here with you. And I would say one of my low points would be my father having a stroke. You know, he had a stroke at the top of the year, but he's been recovering. And, it just kind of puts life in perspective. So.
Yeah, well, the low points from prior guests are always, something to do with some medical hardships, it usually seems, and or some passings. And that's unfortunately part of the deal. But as you said, the high point is the other part of it.
Correct.
That is, the creation and the future.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
That's
I'm
what
excited.
it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, having a son is, just makes it a little extra special as well. He has a name. He has my name, so it's like, he has reputation that means something to me, right? It's bigger than just me. I want to make sure that when he walks into rooms and people hear that name, that I'm paving the way for him, and ensuring that when he walks in a room, he can go with his head held high.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you're just getting started. We say that a lot on the show, but you're off to a good start as well. And I do know that.
All right, I appreciate that.
So congratulations. And, we can't wait to see where Lil Coop heads and goes. We'll get him sponsored on a golf tournament maybe down the road, right?
We'll see.
Yeah, well, that's a good segue to Eastside Golf. So I don't want to spill the beans. I want you to just tell our audience what the heck is Eastside Golf and why is it relevant?
So Eastside Golf is an apparel brand that essentially it embodies culture in a sport that didn't have culture. You can sum it up many different ways, but when you look at what we've done and what we've built, we really have taken a sport that is steeped in tradition. And we have figured out a way to say we still respect the game, but we're changing it at the same time. And so the way that we show up, the way that we do things, it's just the timing, it's just right. And we're qualified to do these changes because we've been playing golf for 30 plus years. I'm a PGA professional, one of the best teachers in America. I put in the 10,000 hours, right? So it's not like we're just walking off the street and saying, it should be this way. It's like, no, we've sat back and we've studied, we've been a part of it. And that was a lot of, I would say, that went into the origin of conversations around what did we always want to see this game have and possess, and we kind of do that through the apparel lens.
So as we get into that, and there's a lot there, right? How did it start? Did it start with an idea? This logo is iconic, the Swingman, right? But what took it from idea to execution?
That's a good point. I mean, it started with my business partner, Olajuwon Ajanaku. And so his story was he grew up, born in Houston, grew up in East Atlanta, played a lot of golf coming up. And from there, he got a golf scholarship to Morehouse College. But he was really good at basketball as well, right? And so being good at different sports, he had a lot of friends outside of the golf course. So he's kind of, juxtaposition in between these two worlds of like going to the golf course and he's with lawyers, doctors, folks that are playing golf on Tuesday and Wednesday. Like, what kind of job is that, right? But then at the same time going home and everyone's talking about other sports other than golf, right? From there, we met at Morehouse College. We won a national championship, and he was our star player on the team. And when he decided to turn pro after college, he did that for several years, but struggled to, raise money, which is very difficult. He did that for several years, ended up getting a corporate job in finance, did that for several years, and ended up moving to Detroit. So the brand, a lot of people don't know, started in Detroit. He was living at the Jeffersonian, got home around 30 and was just like, it's just going to be my life, and I want to play golf. So he ended up, giving me a call. And at that time, I'd written 3 children's books. So I knew a few artists, and he was like, yo, I got this idea. And I hooked him up and I was like, hey, what you guys come up with? And that's when I saw the logo and I'm like, man, that's dope. You should put that on a t-shirt. And that was like kind of like, that's what really kind of, I would say, started my point of view of Eastside Golf. Just put it on a t-shirt. And he did exactly that and he ran with it. And from there, the rest is history. We'll get into it. But that is kind of the origin story of Eastside Golf.
So I've heard that before, and it's great. And thank you for sharing it with our audience. And when I heard that about put it on a t-shirt, like that didn't make sense to me because golf isn't on a t-shirt. You have to wear a collared shirt to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. I don't know if at that time you were an assistant pro at Detroit Golf Club, the first Black American golf professional there, by the way. So give you the booyah right there. We'll do that throughout the day. Thank you. Few of them. But again, I'm like, I get it. And now, again, you go to eastsidegolf.com and you get a bunch of t-shirts.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm like, that's not anything to do with golf. You can't even wear that at a golf course. So how did that kind of go?
No, I think that's a good point, right? So like, because for me, it was always one of those things where we wanted to reach a wider audience, right? So you're 100% right? When you think of what golf represents, but at the same time, that's not how you grow the game, right? And there's always been this cliche of grow the game. And that's not something that we really just use, but at the same time, that's what we're doing. And our position was, if you want to grow the game, you got to get outside of it, right? And so I used to always, one of my favorite lines was like, if you would like to reach my mother, then you need to advertise on Lifetime because she watches a lot of Lifetime, right? So that was always been kind of my point of view. Even working at Detroit Golf Club, you got to get outside the club in order to grow the game. And so for us, we've always looked at like we wanted to meet people where they were. And if you met people where they were wearing t-shirts. They're not wearing, golf gear. They're wearing golf gear either on the golf course or they already know about golf, but you're not introducing it to them. And then you take it a step further, there's a whole host of folks that do know it, but then they don't feel welcome or they feel like I got to wear a costume, right? And then you take it another step further and then there's this idea around, kind of going back to your original point, like, but who said that you have to play golf in order to wear golf clothes, right? One of my favorite lines is, we wear polo or Ralph Lauren, but we don't play polo, right? But no one is questioning that, right? You've never said, oh, well, no, that's only for getting up on a horse and like, no. Some people may not even know where a polo field is, let alone even play it, and it's acceptable. So I think that's the opportunity that we have, right? And again, when you start out, it's also like Uber, right? We were trained, don't get in a stranger car. We do it every day. Airbnb, don't, walk into a stranger's house. We do it every day, right? So it's like these things sound very strange in the beginning, but I think that's also like the power that we represent because we're like, nah, we're going to kind of question tradition in a sense. And that's what we continue to do. And we've done that because also a lot of our number one our first viral moment was through Chris Paul wearing the gear head to toe. But like we're a golf brand and our viral moment is happening through an NBA star, right? And we constantly have these moments from MLB, folks wearing it courtside. Like success is not trying to get the next Tiger Woods. Like that's not what Eastside Golf is here to do. Eastside Golf is here to ensure that if you want to play this sport, that you can look great doing it, you can look comfortable doing it. And whether your golf journey is something where you go to Top Golf, whether you go in the country club or you saying I'm trying to go on tour, we want to be able to at least be with you from that on board.
And really, you alluded to it, but we can say it's not really a golf apparel brand. It's a lifestyle.
Well, see, I think it is a golf apparel brand, certainly, right? And I think that kind of goes back to the point that I was saying earlier, right? If you're right if you want to put it into a box, right, of the traditional, if you say, is it Cutter and Buck, Fairway and Green, the list goes on, right? No, it may not be those brands, but who to say that those brands are the definition of a golf brand? And like I said before, because we have the credentials, right? That's the other piece. Detroit Golf Club, first African-American golf pro. Wilmington Country Club, first African-American golf pro. Both of these courses have hosted major PGA Tour events, one of the best teachers in America. That allows us the license to say, no, we put in the game, we put in the time, but we want to look at it from a different angle and a different perspective. And a lot of it is just the perspective that we grew up in. That story isn't being told. There's only been one story and one lens that golf has been seen through. And that's not a knock on anyone that's telling their story, but it's our time, right? And you're seeing that with LeBron James and Kevin Hart pick up the golf club, right? Now it makes sense, right? And someone will say, well, why is that? But we were simply ahead of the curve because we weren't looking for the establishment to provide us with validation. We still aren't. They aren't going to validate whether our brand is the definition of a golf brand. So we certainly say we are a golfer. It may be a different looking golf brand, but it's 1000% a golf brand.
Yeah, amen. And to that point, you're at PGA golf stores.
Yes.
You're at your own stores.
Yeah, in Detroit. Yeah, Detroit Metropolitan Airport. Come on, it's a lot of Detroit love. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
For sure.
So let's not go step by step where you started from the T-shirts. I want to fast forward to where we are right now and where we're freaking going.
Yeah.
And then we'll circle back if it makes sense.
No, I love that. I mean, look. Where we are right now, we're certainly one of the fastest growing apparel brands, in this space, right? And I think we have we're going to continue to expand, and we're going to continue to show up in places where people aren't going to expect us, because we feel like we're still just scratching the surface. And I think people are just now starting to say, oh, okay, I get it now, right? And so I'm super excited because now we're going to continue to be more readily available, right? With our partnerships with Nordstrom's, we're in 10 doors there, all the major cities. We continue to expand in Golf Galaxy, Dick's Sporting Goods, and country clubs as well. So it's like, we're going to continue to keep showing up in these places that you may not expect us. But when you get a chance to see it, we want you to pick it up simply because you like it. That's it. Create dope shit. Like, you wear clothes, hopefully because you like them. Now, you get to a certain point where people like the logo, right? They want to wear that logo. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's what we're trying to create. We aren't necessarily trying to trace trends. We're trying to create them. And that takes a lot. And that also takes some fearlessness. And I got a lot of credit to my business partner, Elijah, because he certainly moves in that way, right? Where he's like, no, this is... because I get to, Dewey, I understand your point very well, because I was that guy in the beginning too, right? I'm like, I don't know if these country clubs, I've been working in them. I don't know if they're going to be ready for this, right? But then when we went there, how many times did I hear people say, finally? And I'm like, oh, okay, there is something there, right? But it takes that person that, has the confidence, has the credentials, and the timing was right, and we just pushed forward. And when you think about too, just golf is on a boom, right? It's just growing across the board. So I think where we are is, I feel that the culture is finally catching up to where we are. And because we have the infrastructure, I think Eastside Golf is going to be a household name just because of also the brands that we've associated ourselves with. We've got deals with Mercedes-Benz. We're official ambassadors. We work with them from community impact, but we also work with them from an apparel side. We work with Nike. There isn't anyone else doing collaborations with Nike.
How about those shoes? I don't know if you can get the close up on those shoes.
We got the
Air Max. What are those called? Air Max?
Yeah, so these are the Air Maxes, and as you can see, they don't have spikes on the bottom. So you can wear these off the course. I haven't even put them on the course yet. And then inside of the cage, it actually says Eastside, and then it says golf inside the cage. So and again, that's credit to O. That's his creative genius in the shoes. But we've done 13 shoes a day. You know, we started with Jordans, and how many people that you know have a Jordan, right? And we were very blessed to do 9 shoes in total with the Jordan brand, and really just watch Jordan Golf kind of be created to what it is today. And we were there every step of the way. So you can't tell me a brand that is working with Mercedes, working with Jordan, working with Nike, you know, working with all of these top, you know, companies. There is no brand like us, and no brand that has the true authentic story. And let's not forget, like, we can probably beat you on the golf course, right? Like, because we put in the work, like we won a national championship. So that's the other piece, right? Where it's not just like fluff and talk, like, oh, it'd be nice to, I'm working on my swing, I just picked it up. No, I picked it up in 1995. I've been playing the game for 30 years now.
Amen. That's good stuff. So where are we going next? So what's the the next level?
Yeah, so I think for us it's just to continue to expand. There's so many people that don't know about the brand, right? We really want to expand. I think there's some huge opportunity international, more stores. I can't wait to get our own brick and mortar outside of the airport. Love the airport store for sure, but I want to create that community. We want to create that place where people can come hit balls, come hang out, work on their golf swing, and just kind of interact with our customer. That's something that's really important to me. We recently did a pop-up in New York, but you know, we're such an online business that I don't get a chance to do this often. So I get a chance to appreciate the customer, and you are a customer, right? So whether it be the hat, whether it be the head covers, you get a chance to kind of see me, touch me, feel me. And then now it creates that, you know, that equity that we have now, that relationship. So it becomes real. And then you're like, when you wear it, it means a little bit more. And so I want to be able to create that more. And I feel like a store is going to create that for us. And it also creates a little bit of our utopia, you know, for O as a creative director. It creates a space where he can dream and say, you know, because that's what brands do too, right? When you walk into these different stores, it's like a little bit of like an oasis and what they want you to feel and how the clothes are all supposed to fit and live.
So easy to say, hard to do.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to the t-shirt. Okay. So you got the t-shirts, you made 50 of them. I'm just making up a number, and they sold out in 10 minutes on one corner. Some guys were trying to negotiate. You said, no. But here we go now. O's creative director. He's back trying to get his tour card. Or he's going for it, right?
Yeah.
You just had your baby.
Yeah.
Blessings there.
Yeah.
But you both, I know 100%, are still locked in on the
1000%.
business. But you've gone from the two of you to a
team.
Yeah. And we're going to get into that. So let's talk about how you're able to bring on team members and leaders that can help you.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So in anything, in order to scale, you know, we went out and raised capital. We knew that we needed to go raise capital to be able to put in the infrastructure and also go hire experience, right? And I think that's one of the things that we're very excited about. We're only as good as our team.
So let's stop right there. So for all of our YouTube viewers and our podcast listeners, a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs out there, and a lot, whether it's from Sean John to, you know, anything else out there, FUBU to, I don't know, to Eastside Golf. A lot of people want to do retailing, and they think that they can make polos. They think they can do t-shirts.
Right.
And we want to encourage them to go for it, but it's not as easy as I'm going to go raise some money. Right. So talk about, again, we don't have to spend the whole show about it, but you know, you gotta, how do you raise money?
No, well, first you gotta have a plan, right? You gotta have a written down plan. Like I always like to say, you gotta have a document that can live in a room that you may not be able to enter, right? And so that was the first things first. We wrote it down, and from there, it's about selling a dream, right? You have to be able to say, okay, these are the things that I'm gonna do to get these numbers. And you have, you know, worst case scenario, you have, okay, we do okay, and then you have, we do excellent, right? So good, better, best kind of model. And then from there, I think the other piece that really helped us was the fact that we knew kind of the market. We knew like there were other examples of folks trying to do this, but they couldn't do it because they didn't have what we have. And so we knew that we also possessed some unique skill set as well, right? So what could make you different from the competition? And I think those are all the things that we kind of focused on. And what made us different is our unique story, our unique upbringing. And from there, it was just, lastly, I'd just say our hustle, right? Like some people say hustle like you broke, you know, all of these different lines. But at the end of the day, you gotta hustle and you gotta love it. You gotta really love it. And so to your point, yeah, we certainly have grown this business and we're at different points in our lives. But at the end of the day, we still understand this is the main thing. And so we wake up every day trying to figure out, how do we ensure that as this brand continues to grow, that it still kind of maintains its specialness, its soul. It maintains the ethos. And that's very difficult, right? No matter, anyone can say that, right? As your team is getting bigger, it's hard to kind of ensure that that person has that passion, right? And so like, that's the thing even for me. Like when I came into Detroit, I went to the airport store and I'm like, okay, I'm constantly nitpicking, constantly saying, okay, we can do this better. We can do that better. Okay, how do we do? And I take a million pictures all the time and I'll go back and I'll send it to the team just to figure out the website. I'm always like, okay, well, that's not right. Or this, can we change this? Or how do we like, and it's something as simple as just like the other day, the pop-up graphic. So when you log on the website, everybody's got a pop-up and it's like, throw your email in there. I'm like, okay.
15% off your first purchase.
Exactly,
I've seen it.
Exactly. So, but how do we make that more enticing? Right? How do we get better? And I'm always looking at
20% off with your first purchase.
Exactly. It could be. Or like I've seen people say like, you know, get this 20 or no. Like really kind of, you know, putting it in that position like, do I really want 20%? I do want 20%, right. Making it easy or simple. Or sometimes you just take it down. Don't even, because some people, you may lose them in a click, right? So it's just, for me, never settling also, right? We've accomplished a lot, but at the same time, we know, like I said, I'm also shifting mindset. So that's going to take some time. And when we started this, it was also like, we knew we wanted to make a bet on the next generation, right? And so I use the example because everyone knows these folks as LeBron James and Bronny James. We knew from the beginning that if we could get this current generation playing, their kids are going to pick it up. And then their kids will naturally gravitate into the game and it will be normalized. And it won't be this, like right now, it's a big deal that these guys are playing golf. But ultimately, we want to be around 10, 20, 30 years from now when Bronny James is his father's age. He'd be like, I've been playing golf since I was 19 years old or 20 years old and I was in the NBA. Like, it's, what do you mean? It's not. And that's what you've seen in most, you know, white households, right? It was just like, my dad played it. It's not like this thing like, oh my God, who's playing golf? You know, but that is what we believe in. So whereas we know right now that if we're investing inside of these young professionals and these business folks now and getting them in the game, it's going to spread. And that, again, is what we call growing the game, not trying to get the next person at a country club or in the PGA Tour playing golf. We, you know, you look at, again, the example would be, just for this sake of conversation, the LeBron James or the Kevin Harts or whoever, those type of folks, and how it's getting passed down to their kids.
So I have two comments. I'm going to go with the first one. And you talked about, again, being authentic. Mm-hmm. I believe, and I may be wrong, but I think Tiger Woods even has like 2 or 3 different logos. He's got the T with the W, looks like a shield, and he's got the tiger that all spread out, right? So he, as a validated golfer, couldn't figure out a logo to sustain. And Phil Mickelson, I'm a lefty, my guy. Phil, he had, I think he had Fairway Blues or whatever. And those things, again, I don't know whether they take off or not, but they were attempts by people who were top of that game to slide into their own logo business. And, you know, Arnold Palmer's done it differently. He's got the umbrella doing his thing.
umbrella, But I think those logos are more attached to like their performance, right? Where our logos is attached to, you could say, almost our story, right? And so when you have a story, it allows us to kind of to live and build on it, right? Even that's what O has done a great job in the storytelling with the take flights and, you know, the red clay. Like Tiger's story is only kind of, it's all about the winning the majors, right? And so also, as we usher in this new on board, I just think there's so many more stories out there. Because like I said, you haven't really seen the lifestyle element of golf. We've seen the performance, but you haven't seen lifestyle. Like, that's what we represent. There is no one on earth representing lifestyle from a culturally relevant space before us.
Right.
No one. Like,
right.
And I mean, it sounds crazy, but it didn't exist because I was in it. If they were there, I would have known them. Right. I've been since 1995. I've been in this thing since 2002. I've been on the national stage. If they exist, I knew them. They didn't exist. Right. And there was a lot of people that wanted to. We aren't the first person to do this, that wanted to do this. I think, again, timing is everything, and our relationships had a lot to do with it. But what Tiger and the rest of the guys that you name, it's all performance. What we are creating is the lifestyle. And don't get me wrong, there will be a day when we build the lifestyle big enough that we'll go into the performance, because that's growth, that's business, right? You're in one area and then you try to go into the other one. But we certainly are architecting a path that has never been done before.
So on that point, and good point, but we were together 6-7 months ago, and we were having a little business dinner, brainstorming. I don't know, just hanging out, session. We're all collaborating, right? Hangouts aren't just hang out.
Right.
Like, let's help each other out.
Yeah.
And so I know the answer to this question, but I haven't asked it for a while. But so it started as a brand that might have been focused on the Black American or the African American global audience, maybe start in America, start in Detroit, start wherever. But is it more than that now? I
think it was always more than that, right? It was always more than that for us. Like, look, are we proud Black men? 1,000%. I went to Morehouse College. You know, my parents raised me to be proud of who I am in every room that I walk in. And I've been doing that prior to Eastside Golf, and I'll do that after Eastside Golf. But we also know the opportunity in golf is the lack of diversity and, inclusion. And so for us, that's the value. Like, again, we got to grow this thing, right? I worked at the country clubs. You know what the model is? Okay, Mr. Steffens, how do we get you to buy more polos? How do we get you? Okay, you bought 3 last year. Can we get you to buy 6 this year, right? Okay, you have a friend, maybe they join. And what I'm saying is, no, I don't need you to buy more. I just want to get more people. So it's just a different approach and model to a sport that just has been stuck for a long time. And you haven't really seen anyone from the inside flip it on its head the way that we're doing it. We couldn't do this, and I would not be sitting on your couch if it wasn't for the work that we put in, if it wasn't for PGA credentials that we have, Golf Digest best teacher in America, O's got professional wins. Like, the work was put in, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. So to your point earlier, when people are like, oh, you guys started a golf brand. Yeah, we did, but this started a long time ago.
And you have to be passionate about what it is. So I grew up caddying at a country club. I played college golf. And so golf, I didn't have a father growing up. So these 300 members were my surrogate fathers. Right. I observed them. I wanted to attain the status they had, whether that was the wealth or the family unit or whatever it might have been.
For sure.
I some kids hang out the basketball field, some court. Some hang out the football field. I hung out at the country club, just carrying a bag for $5. Tips and hanging out, right? And learn the game there.
Yeah, I caddied too. I get it.
And I think the brand started 2019.
Yep, June of 2019.
And then COVID was after this. So I think that was a blessing. Obviously, everyone, golf increased.
Yeah.
Everyone started golfing.
In the middle of it, you didn't know it was a blessing, right?
No,
Right. In the middle of it, you are figuring it out. I mean, you're learning how to be more resourceful more than ever. Because even when the Chris Paul moment happened, it's in the middle of COVID. So that was in August of 2020. sales are skyrocketing and we have no product, no way to even get it, right? It's like everything was shut down. But again, that's where you learn good customer service. You learn good communication. You learn to say, okay, look, people are buying this, but they don't even have nowhere to go. So let's just communicate to them, right? Let's not take advantage of this. Let's make sure that. And so again, it was just a learning lesson. But to be able to live through that period, right? That also gave us a lot of confidence moving forward, right? To be like, this isn't a mom and pop brand. This isn't a flash in the pan. This thing is built on the strongest foundation you can find in the world. And so there's no limit to where we can take this thing.
So validated for sure, 100%. My concern would be, and I'm just curious, golf is an expensive sport. Yeah, there are public courses. Yes, it's open to anyone to play, but it's not like tennis where you just get a racket and go hit a ball.
Correct.
Golf, the equipment's expensive. To play around, get on the course is expensive. So there are barriers to entry for grab two friends.
There is, but also like if you understand anything about hip hop and culture, right? They often aspire for things that they can't afford, or someone would say they should not buy. So like that doesn't deter folks all the time from aspiring to do it. I think again, now that the trend is there and they can see the opportunity, I also feel that what we're doing and we're showing on a big case is the business case for it too, right? And we talk to these young professionals. Has always really advocated for the business deals that go down on the golf course, the networking that goes down on the golf course. So it's also probably one of the best investments you can make. So yeah, you can go buy a leadership course for maybe $1,500, or you can go buy some golf clubs and work on your swing and put yourself in those circles that you were talking about, even just as a caddy, right? Like, because golf is all around us, right? Like I often say, like a lot of these golf courses are hidden in plain sight, right? But we just don't know that they're there. So it's changing, and the idea that golf is an expensive sport, yes, it is an expensive sport. I'm not dismissing that, but people spend money, they figure out ways to make money, and for us, it's about creating this lifestyle element, because the other piece too is that I'm not going to give you product that you can only wear there. I'm going to give you product that you can wear in your everyday life. So if you're at happy hour, if you're at brunch, or if you're going to work, here's something fly that you can put on. And then, oh, by the way, if you ever do decide to go to the golf course, you can do it too. You can take it with you.
100%, right? All right, well, where are we going next then? So we're going to get your own store.
Yeah.
Do you have markets that you're focused on, whether they're South Florida, New York? Like,
yeah, I mean, look, it's a fashion brand, right? So New York, LA are always going to be. It's like in finance, right? If you're headed to New York at the end of the month, right? Those two are undebatable. It's like if you want to do movies and stuff like that, or the actors, majority of actors live in Hollywood, like. That's where you're going to find it. But I do think there are some opportunities in Atlanta to expand because of the connection that we have, the origin story. Him and I both going to Morehouse College. And I think international is huge. I think we're also still going to continue to show how you merge other sports, right? How do you merge basketball and golf? You're seeing it with the Steph Currys of the world. And again, these folks are picking it up. I often like to say it's everyone's second favorite sport. Right, like I had a conversation with Jason Tatum the other day, just checking in on him, coming off the Achilles, and he's like, bro, I miss golf, right? Like, and he was back out there. I saw it on IG, like he's back out there swinging a golf club. So it's real, man. These guys, to see them pick up the sport. I mean, you look at Carlos, the tennis star. I mean, he's winning the U.S. Open and he's swinging, right? Like he had Sergio Garcia sitting courtside. Like these are people at the peak. Like these men and women can do anything they want in the world, and they're saying, I want to go play golf. That isn't a fad. That isn't a trend. They're falling in love with this game because this game is fucking amazing. Excuse me for cussing, but it is amazing. Like the game itself. Yeah, you may have your favorite player. Yeah, you may have your favorite course. Maybe your favorite equipment, but the game, it's the best game in the world. It really is. And that's why you have so many people attracted to it. They aren't attracted to it because of one individual player or one individual course. People are saying, you know what? I've never had this type of experience before. I can't get this anywhere else. And like LeBron was quoted saying, he's like, I've been relying on my teammates my whole life. Now I get a chance to get out there and rely on me. And it's hard as shit, but I love that feeling that it's all on me.
100% truth in that. And I think along that same line is whether it's COVID to just you advertising that it is acceptable. You don't have to belong to a country club. You can wear a hoodie. You can, you don't have to be part of that stigma or those traditional rules and regulations, so that it makes them more comfortable to maybe go give it a try.
For sure.
And then again, if they see Steph Curry do it, they see LeBron do it, they, could be any nationality, any
but
ethnicity.
I think this is a good opportunity too to explain that, right? I would relate it to religion, right? In churches, right? There's some churches you're gonna go into and they require full garb, right? A certain attire, right? Okay, cool. You do that when you go there. There's other churches, they say, come as you are. There's other churches that you could just wear anything, right? So it's the same thing, right? Eastside Golf is not here to completely dismantle traditional country clubs. That's not what we're saying. What we're simply saying is that we met some folks where they were, and on this journey, we want to equip them, whether they want to go to the country club. You can still wear Eastside Golf at the country club. I've done it. I played Augusta National. I wore Eastside Golf at Augusta National. But I can go to Belle Isle and wear a hoodie. Two different worlds, both brands showing up, same guy showing up. So I think it's just important that we're not this brand where it's like one versus the other, right? Like that's not what we're saying. We're simply saying that, yes, we're focused on an area that we feel has been underrepresented, no doubt, because that's how we grow it. These are the folks that validated us. But, if you go to the country club, you may say, you know what? I like that. And you should wear it. And that's the other piece about it. It's like, we don't want you just to wear it because it's like, oh, it's the trend. We want you to wear it because you like it, because it is acceptable wherever you're going. Because certainly I go to nice country clubs all the time. I play some of the best golf courses in the world. I've been very fortunate, and I show up with my Eastside Golf. But if I'm going to Top Golf, I might be able to go like this. But I know I can't go to certain courses like this, and I'm not here shooting down those courses or saying that that's a problem.
Right.
That's perfectly fine. But where we feel the opportunity is, especially in golf, the opportunity for us is saying, okay, we're going to meet people outside the sport.
Fair. All right, let's switch topics, I guess, a little bit. Mm-hmm. So from Eastside to maybe a little bit about you and you within Eastside and your role, co-founder with O to CEO to now, let's say, handing the reins over to a degree. Yeah. And you do have a cap table, you have investors, you did one round of fundraising.
Yes,
I'm sure you've done a second round of fundraising.
We've raised some
capital. Continue, and that's part of the process. So within your current world and your future world, where's that align in the building of the brand and just in for your world?
Yeah, no, like I said, I think, for us it's been a journey, right? Like, look, even sitting on this couch, I'm getting flashbacks in the sense of how far we've come, right? And literally, started this thing in the Jeffersonian, right? In a small apartment, like just an idea. It was literally an idea. We didn't know anyone in fashion. We didn't have anyone to call, like, do this, do that. That was never the case. It was all learning on the fly. So to see where we are today, and, specifically my role, I get an opportunity to really play to my strengths. And that's what I'm excited about, right? Like when you build it up, it's almost like I was telling someone, I'm a starter. I may not be the star, but I'm a starter. So just tell me what my role is. And that's kind of how I approach it. Like I don't have to feel like I don't need to prove anything when it comes to Eastside Golf. I know what I've done, and I know the value that I can bring to this organization, and I continue to do that every day. And so I'm excited that we now have other team members that they can play to their strengths. And these are the conversations that Olajuwon and myself talk about all the time. I'm not good at everything. He's not good at everything. But we're at a point where we can say, hey, because we have certain partners and have raised capital, we can say, you know what? What are the good things that we're good at? What do we enjoy doing? And that's a luxury, because a lot of times you don't get that ability. But we've earned that right. And so now I'm excited as we go into that second phase and that next launching pad to also be able to focus a lot more on the vision. I was listening to a podcast and they say, you know, it's like, can you work out and play chess, right? Those two don't really go together, right? Because chess, you should be able to plot your moves. And so the point that they were making was that's kind of like how life is, right? People are like, go, 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 go. But where's the strategy? And so I think for us, we get a chance to play a little bit of chess. We've been playing a lot of hustle. But now, because we started this brand and we built it from nothing, we put in the equity to say, all right, where's the next horizon? What's around the other curve? Because we saw around one curve. But where do we feel like the biggest opportunity is, the biggest growth channels? And also, where is the business losing it? Because when you're in it, it's so hard to see the picture. So I think we can certainly bring that. That's going to be a lot of our roles. And then I think, look, golf is just getting started, right? There's a plethora of opportunity. And even when you look, the landscape of sport companies is also changing. You got brands like Fanatics, right? Like the collectible business and what Ruben is doing with the betting and gambling. You see ESPN, right? It's just so different, right? But sometimes you got to take a step out to really say, all right, where are those opportunities? And so, you know, we all saw what Liv did and shook up the PGA Tour a little bit, but I feel like the tour has gotten stronger through it, right? Liv is still doing what they do, but the landscape is still kind of really shifting. And so I think, for me, though, I think we need to continue to double down on the path, because there's still, as you know, there's a lot of people that don't know the brand. There's a lot of people that don't know the story. And then there's still a lot of people that I feel have a misperception of what we do and what we're all about. And so I think as we continue to do, you know, things like this is an opportunity for us to educate. You know, I know the folks that are watching your podcast. I watch your podcast. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to have this opportunity. So I think a lot of the future is going to be this too, getting on platforms, touching the people, because I've been so boggled down going into the office every day for the last 6 years, no weekends off, just doing what I got to do. I now can say, you know what, Dewey, how long we been trying to get this podcast? I'm on the way. I'm coming, right? Like that. Now, when you come to New York, I'm going to have time to meet with you. When you came to New York prior to, I was in back-to-back meetings. I couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And now I can get back to a little bit of that, which is going to, you know, benefit the business in different ways, but it's going to be a tremendous benefit.
Well, fast fact for our listeners and our viewers out there, when I did go to New York the last time, I wasn't there to see you, but Delta, you lost my bag. Okay, you lost my bag from the overhead. How you lose my bag on the overhead? Check out my Instagram, because it's there. And so I had a business meeting that I had to be properly attired, and I came down to see you at your store and your offices, and I said, I don't need to go shopping, but I gotta have at least a sweatshirt.
Yeah. We hooked you up.
You got me. Oh, absolutely.
We hooked you up. We made sure you were good. Booyah, right,
sure,
baby?
Booyah, for sure. So that was fantastic on the fly, right? And,
for sure.
I got to see a little bit of your operation then and break some bread. So that was fantastic. But what we were just talking about, it goes contrary to what you said earlier of, O and I are validated because our history of golf goes back to 1995. Okay, that's great. Well, what validates your history of business? And what I mean by that is, I'm a business owner.
Right.
I came from 20 years at two of the biggest Wall Street firms on the planet.
Right.
But it didn't teach me how to run a business.
Right.
How to make payroll.
Right.
How to order supplies
Right.
and do whatever.
Right.
So how do you and O go from, and really, you know, I'm talking about you, to, all right, I'm going to hand off the CEO role.
Right.
We're going to have I don't know, creative director. We're going to have
Right.
chief this, chief that.
Right.
Because whether right now we're in a tariff situation. You're coming to where you source your goods. We've talked about all these things. I don't even know what that means. But so how do you go from the business side to guys that were just slinging some T-shirts?
1,000%. So look, I think, but I said that earlier, where it's that's what the capital is going to allow us to do, to go hire experts that have the experience, that have done this before, that know they do have the validation. To your point, we can't sit here and say we're validated in running businesses and we have that experience. No, we definitely have the experience in the golf world. But now we are at a point where we can go hire folks and bring them in. And so we go hire folks and get the most talented folks from these, companies like Ralph Lauren, and the list goes on, right? We're going out there and we're under the rock. We hire search firms. We go get the best and the most talented and the brightest folks. That's what they do. And that's really where we are now. And I'm excited about that, because if we're all playing on our strengths, I mean, to be honest, the world hasn't seen what we can accomplish. And we've accomplished so much in this short span, right? So that as you know, most businesses would have failed by now, right? What is it? Most businesses fail in the first 3 years, and then 5 years. We're on year 6. And we're moving ahead. We're not slowing down.
You're just getting started.
There it is.
Right.
There it is. So no, I think for us, as we enter this next chapter, the world hasn't seen it yet. The world has not, because we're gonna have the ability to really bring in the best and brightest, and that's what successful companies do. Whether they're tech companies, whether they're sports companies, they go get the best and the brightest, and they put them in those roles. And that's what we're looking forward to doing here at Eastside Golf. But again, when it comes to the vision and it comes to golf, how do we blend those two things together? And that's where leadership meetings happens, right? Like, that's where you have this council. That's where you have your board. That's where you have your advisors, and we're in that room and we're beating it all up. But at the end of the day, we're going to say, all right, when we walk out of here, we're locking hands and we're going to go forward. But we also know that, again, the opportunity is now. We're seizing the moment right now. Golf is hotter than it's ever been. It's just hot. So we have the infrastructure, and we're not trying to play catch up.
Well, I love that. And there are two things I'm going to add on. One is the quality of your product. Your product is high quality.
Yep.
And that's important.
Yes.
Whether it's at the country club or at the municipal course.
Yep.
You've got your stake on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then number 2, you're going to love this one. We talked about playing polo. And who's playing polo wearing a polo, right?
Yeah.
Well, golf, although it's expensive, it's probably cheaper than polo.
That'll
be the next commercial.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's cheaper than polo.
That is a good one. Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic. All right, well, we're gonna segue to a part of the show that's my favorite.
Okay.
It is my show. However, a lot of times I hear that people sick of hearing what do we do. They want to hear what the guests do.
Okay.
So this is the part of the show called What Earl Do.
Okay. What Earl do?
What would Earl go back and tell his 18-year-old self, or 18-year-olds out there today, so they can live their best life?
Yeah. So I love the question. What Earl would do is, and it's something that I live by now, still to this day. And it's a little story. So my sophomore year of high school, I was really good at golf, like all state, won my conference, did everything I was supposed to do. And I got a big head. I can say that. Right? I got a little cocky, and I was like, and I had an awful junior year. And I know why, because I stopped practicing. And then 2, you start going to national competitions and things of that nature. But from that moment, there's a line that I've always said to myself, is that don't settle for a taste of success, make it a lifestyle. And so that's something that I still live by today. And so, again, as you can imagine, life, and it's hard when you're young, right? Because you think, oh, I won this, this is going to be forever. And it's not. It's not. And so when you make it a lifestyle and you have the ability to pivot, reinvent yourself, continue to put the work, but also love the work. I think that's also the other piece, right? You gotta love the work, because that's the only thing that's gonna cause you to keep going back and keep going back, especially when you don't see the results. And so those would be the two biggest things that I would tell anyone is, one, don't settle for a taste of success, make it a lifestyle, and fall in love with the work.
Fall in love with the work. That's universal. You know, they say that if you're going to be doing it your whole life, you better do something that you love, because you're going to be doing it your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people get caught up doing things that they love, but they don't have a financial
Well, I mean, when I say fall in love with the work, though, I'm not saying do anything you love. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the work of like knowing what it takes to be successful, because you may not love whatever it may be, right? But you know that's what it takes. So you have to be able, and everyone isn't wired that way, right? And that's okay. And everyone doesn't have to start their own company, build it, do this or do that, or start their own investment firm. But we all know that if you gonna do it, this is the work that I'm talking about. And it's gonna be very difficult for you to make it to that next level if you don't love this. So that's really where, it should be broken down to. Not like, oh, well, I love whatever it may be, right? But if you don't love this, and we can outline what this is because we've seen that, that's what I mean by falling in love with that. And when it comes to building businesses, when it comes to specifically building Eastside Golf and that apparel, there are a lot of that work that's not sexy, that people don't see, but that's what you gotta love to do, right? It's the following up, it's the emails, it's the going above and beyond, it's the, cranking it out even though you're tired, even though now for me, it's like, you got the screaming kid in the background. It's like all of those things, that's the work that I'm talking about. And that's what you gotta love. You can't just say, oh, well, I love sitting on the couch, so I'm gonna just sit on the couch. Right. But I love sitting on this couch too. By the way,
well, this is a nice
pretty
couch.
comfortable.
Yeah, 100%. And no, but you're dead on. It's not just doing something that's easy and that you love it, but whatever you're into, your schoolwork. We've had many D1 athletes on that said they went to college to play their sport. They didn't get to go to the parties on Friday night.
1,000%.
They didn't really get to date. They were in the weight room, the whatever room, and whatever room, and whatever room. And they had to sacrifice. And it's 80 hours a week. And you can work for another company. You don't have to be an entrepreneur and be your own business owner. If you want to succeed and excel, you have to put in the time. You have to be passionate. That's it, right? And you have to put in the work, and you have to understand that the grind is real.
The grind is real. And it's like, if you want to start something from scratch, right? Like that's the other thing too, where a lot of people, I don't think they fully understand, like you're starting from scratch. So in order to start from scratch and achieve any level of success, there's a lot of people, like you got to put that work in, period. Or you could say, hey, I don't want to start from scratch. I want to start here. I want to start at someone else's firm, or I want to start at Eastside Golf and learn the apparel business and learn a role and make yourself irreplaceable, right? The biggest thing too that I learned very on is create value, CV. Every room I walk into, I create value. And that's not a cliche. That's from my time at the golf course as being the first African-American golf pro. That wasn't charity. That was because the value that I brought. Then my next opportunity. Then my next opportunity. Ask anyone that has worked with me prior to Eastside Golf. They're like, oh no, he brings it. He brings it. And that's the difference, right? So that's the other piece. I didn't wait until I owned something to bring it. I was doing it at Detroit Golf Club. Everyone knows that. I was doing it at Wilmington Country Club. Everyone knows that. I was doing it in the mayor's office. So I understand what it is to serve. I understand what it is to follow the leader. Like, again, I said before, I don't have to be the star. It's not about that. It's about coming together, a unified vision, but once I lock in on something, it's a wrap. I'm going to get it. And so that's the difference. And so I just think too often people are like, well, I'm waiting until it's my time. Well, I'm waiting until my name is on the door. Well, you know, you may be waiting a while, and two, you may be missing your opportunity because this is the training ground. Because what we always say, me and O early on, was the fact that everyone wants to do it, but they didn't put the work in. And so why Eastside Golf is also successful is because we did it all. And so we knew what it looked like. We had a certain point of view on what good customer service looked like because it was our cell phones was customer service. We know what good shipping looks like because our apartments was the fulfillment center, right? So when you do it all and you don't make any excuses, that is going to be the difference.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, we're running out of time, but before we get out of here, I want you to leave our audience and those aspiring entrepreneurs, maybe particularly even in the apparel business. I don't know, margins are tight, costs are good, this, that, the other. So maybe talk to them about the two biggest struggles or challenges that even you face now. And then again, tell them how if they're starting their own brand, what they, a little hack or two to get
I would say, I think there's two things. So one, apparel businesses is a very cash intense business, right? Because you have to put up a lot of cash and the development of the timeline and when you receive the product to convert that cash and to convert that product back into cash is a long period, right? So just think about it, right? Just a shirt. It could take anywhere from 90 to 120 days. And if they say they want that on day one, so you're putting that $100 up, whatever it costs to build it, and then you still got to market it, you got to shoot it, and then go sell it, right? So it could be 4 or 5 months, that you're investing something and you're not going to see a return and trends and everything can happen. So what I would say is that one, in order to scale, you do need a good partner, a good banking, some sort relationship. Even if you don't have that, you need a relationship with the manufacturer to say, all right, can I get terms, net 15 or 50%? But if they got you putting 100% up front, it could be a long period because that cash is not working for you in the meantime. I would think one of the other pieces that I would say is the hack is that one of the things that we did well, and you mentioned this earlier, is quality, right? I give a lot of credit on that, where we went and bought quality product in the beginning, quality blanks. But I always like to say, and I was saying this earlier, is like love on the customer. And I think too often times everyone's so busy trying to get the next customer that they forget to love on the customer who bought. And so I felt like if we really treated those people special, that is going to cause them to go get another customer. And so that I don't see that often enough when I'm out and I'm seeing people with new brands. I think a lot of people are just always focusing more on advertising, getting the word out. But how well are you engaging your current consumer? How well do you know them? How well do you listen to them? What are their needs? What are their likes? Those are the things that I think could make a profound difference. Because, again, you don't have to have a massive company. But if you can get that consistent, you got your handful, and as that grows, I think that is something that is an opportunity. That's certainly a hack.
Yeah, appreciate that. And a lot of companies, and this is for everyone out there listening and watching, they try to get more clients, more units, right? So they want to have a new customer. And so they go thin. They just get a one and done. And so at our firm, Great Lakes Wealth, we actually have the same model as you mentioned.
Right.
We call it the pyramid.
Right.
And so at the top of the pyramid is our current clients. Right. And so we serve our current clients. That's what we're in business for. And then underneath that is our team members. Right. So is our current work environment. They say a happy staff is a happy business. We still want to serve our customers, but we want to serve our team members second. And then the lower level would be new business opportunities. Right. So we say, hey, if it's 5 o'clock and we're packing up and there's a call on one line from a current client and a call on another line from someone who wants to become a client, without hesitation, you want to answer them both, I suppose, but without hesitation, you talk to your current client first. Correct. And you tell the other one, respectfully, we're closed for the day. We'll get back to you tomorrow. But don't disregard what you have and count on it, because that's a recipe for disaster.
It is.
Right?
It is. But we see it all the time, especially in business, right, where people just kind of chasing numbers. So I just think it sounds simple, but it's like put yourself in their shoes, especially if you were a client, you want to hear from them. So I know we're out of time, but before we go, I couldn't come out here without, giving you a personal gift from us. So this is our Eastside Air. And so it has the coordinates on here. And this is special because it's the Detroit airport, right? So just a little special. And this also goes with the shoes. So it's the whole take flight. I know you got your Air Maxes on the way, and we appreciate your support. So booyah.
Well, booyah to you, my man. I appreciate that. That'll go right on the bag for sure. That's actually my hat. That's not a prop. So I'm going to wear that hat. And with that, and just because, we love you, I'm going to give you my favorite gift. I've got my What Do We Do chapstick. I know we always tease about that.
Yes, sir.
Just so you can have that. Just keep it even.
Baby, I appreciate
I don't want to be on the hook. So we're even with that. Before we go, real quick, anything else you want to share with our audience about yourself, your family, anything?
Man, a lot of people always say, how can I buy the merch? How can we support? I always like to say, download the app, right? It costs you no money. It's a little storage space on your phone. So go download that app. Go check it out, eastsidegolf.com. If you have Hulu, type in golf and check out our episode on there. We got 6 episodes that really dives deep into our story. And I can't wait. I can't wait, and I look forward to meeting, folks that had a chance to watch this podcast. Like I said, I just love meeting people. So if you see me out, please come up.
That's fantastic. And Eastside Golf also on Instagram. What's your personal handle?
My personal Instagram is Earl Dream Big. So that's one of my lines, dream big because dreams do come true.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you, okay?
Thank you, brother.
But with that, we are out of time. So as I always say to wrap up the show, live your best life, be radically generous. A great big booyah to ya.
Booyah.
And this has been another episode with the fantastic, amazing, and wonderful and dreaming big Earl Cooper. But we're just getting started.
Yes,
booyah.
Sir.
The opinions expressed in this program are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or any specific security. It's only intended to provide education about the financial industry. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. Any indices referenced for comparison are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. As always, please remember investing involves risks and possible loss of principal capital. Please seek advice from a licensed professional.